Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Randall Shepard. I'm joined by Monica Lily Padman.
Hi there.
Hello there. We got one of my previous bosses on today.
That's right. Did you feel like you needed to be a good employee for him?
When I worked for him, indeed.
Yeah.
Which was actually a fun experience to meet him as, I guess, a peer.
Yeah.
I don't want to call him a peer, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I'm like,
you're in charge.
I got to make a great impression on this guy so I don't get fired. But this time it was just like, hey, you're going to see real me. And it was so much fun.
What a nice person.
It's almost impossible what a nice person he is. It's really incredible. And he has one of the most incredible Hollywood stories there are.
Yeah.
Ron Howard is an Academy Award-winning film director, producer, and actor. He's directed A Beautiful Mind, Apollo 13, Frost Nixon, Cinderella Man, The Vinci Code, Parenthood, ding, 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 and Arrested Development. He has a new book out called The Boys, a memoir of Hollywood and family by Ron and Clint Howard. And this book is so fun because they unpack their upbringing that seemed normal to them, yet was anything but, from a newfound perspective of time and success. He's got great stories, and it was such a pleasure to talk to him, and I just adore him. And you will too, so please enjoy Ron Howard. We get support from Quince.
So we've been talking about Quince a lot lately, and as we head into fall, it's the perfect time to reset your wardrobe with their amazing pieces. I think it's so fun to do when the seasons turn over, to just spruce up your wardrobe with a couple specials, and Quince is the place.
Totally. We're talking organic cotton, Mongolian cashmere, tailored chinos from just $60. Premium fit and quality you'd expect from a luxury brand designer. I love Quince. You know, I like it understated and subtle, and I like stuff that has high quality. And Quince checks all those boxes.
I love a lot of stuff from Quince. Honestly, they have incredible premium denim, which is very important for fall. It's pretty much all I wear in the fall is denim. And Quince has such a good selection of quality denim. Their stuff is so versatile, timeless, and built to last that you just grab every single day without thinking.
Right. And all of that for 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They go direct to ethical factories, cut out the middlemen, so you get all that quality without overpaying for it.
We love that. And they do way more than clothes. They have bedding, cookware, bath essentials, travel must-haves, same deal, and great quality.
Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/Dax. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/Dax. We get support from Apple Gift Card. Back to school is here, and for many, that means some big life transitions. Whether they are heading into a new grade or setting up a dorm for the first time, you want to give them something that actually supports their growth and success. Apple Gift Card is a versatile solution because it takes the guesswork out of gifting. It's not just about a new pair of AirPods for focus. It's about giving them the invaluable chance to choose the digital tools and subscriptions that suit their unique journey. They can use it for productivity apps on the App Store, movie nights on Apple TV, or extra iCloud storage for all those new memories. With Apple Gift Card, it's so empowering to give the students their freedom to allocate their own resources. Celebrate their new academic chapter. Visit applegiftcard.apple.com to celebrate their milestones and gift one today.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Hi!
Oh, I was getting a little work done. Sorry about that. I was getting.
We may have learned more about you in the last 40 seconds than we will in the next hour.
It's great to see you. How you doing?
So good to see you. Was that personal stuff or work stuff?
That was work stuff. Getting ready to do a rough cut screening of my latest movie, and I was asking a few friends if I could send them a link and get their feedback. So.
And after 740 movies and awards and whatnot, is the that initial screening process, does it get any less daunting?
No, probably worse. I call it the gauntlet of judgment that begins. It starts with the friends and family screening, then it goes to the test screening crowd. Of course, the studio's in there in the mix. Then it goes all the way to the critics. And it's all agony because all you want is just for them to at least really like it. I mean, come on.
Yes.
And most of them tend to, but there's always those naysayers.
Well, let me ask you, what do you find to be more productive, the friends and family or the recruited audience screening?
I'm finding the friends and family.
Really?
Well, because I think friends and family know that I really would like the help. I really want the help. I just don't want a pat on the back. And I usually conduct my own little discussion afterwards where I'm sort of imploring people to please just tell me. I don't want to find out when I read the newspaper. I want to know now when I can maybe still do something about it. The best of all of these was a test screening of Apollo 13. And this was before digital, before visual effects were something you could sort of rapidly build into a cut. And we tested it, and nobody knew much about it. It was also an era when you would just sort of spring a movie on a test audience. They wouldn't even know what they were going in to see. So in this case, it was Apollo 13 with still storyboards in it and of space, but it tested great. It was so exciting. And I remember looking at it, and it was like, I don't know, 385 cards, and literally 375 were just fantastic. Sort of 8 or 9 were okay, and one was rated it poor. You know, they're asked to rate it excellent, very good, good, fair, poor. Poor. And so naturally, that's the one I had to read.
Oh, yeah.
Right away.
Yeah. It's the only one that confirmed everything you feared about yourself.
That's always it. But I looked at it, and I remember a 24-year-old Caucasian male. Didn't have a lot to say, but it was all negative with these bold pencil strokes and exclamation marks, 2 or 3 of them. And didn't say a lot, just rated it poor, wouldn't recommend it. Finally, on the back page, it said, please, any comments on the ending? And he said, terrible, 3 exclamation marks. More Hollywood bullshit, 4 exclamation marks. They would never survive, 5 exclamation marks.
Oh
And I
my.
realized, okay, well, this guy didn't know it was a true story. And that's the beauty of telling true stories, is you pick stuff that you couldn't get away with in fiction, and then you dramatize that.
Oh man, that makes me think of someone sharing with me the link of someone re-recorded a Metallica song, and then someone, the point being, like what they were critical of, they didn't even realize it was a remake of a thing. They don't know anything they're talking about, but they give a master class on
I just ripped it.
what's wrong with this genre and whatnot.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? It's so good to see you, man.
I know, it's so good to
I'm
see
seeing
you.
you over the Zoom, and which is better than nothing. And very nice to meet you. Hello, how are
Monica,
Yes, hi.
my esteemed host. Are you in LA?
I'm in London.
Fuck, we could have put a pin in this. We're going to be there in 2 weeks,
Oh, really?
Monica and I, for a few weeks. We're going to be interviewing people.
Oh, excellent. Yes, we could have.
Yeah.
But instead, maybe I'll recruit you for a rough cut friends and family screening if you're around.
Okay, so having been now in LA for 26 years, having been involved in this business, I've both attended many
Yes.
as a friend or a family,
Right.
and then I've hosted them for movies I've made.
Of course.
And I got to say, it can go a lot of ways, because what you are also getting with friends and families that you're not getting with a recruited audience of strangers is personal baggage. Like, most of my friends and family aspire to do this thing as well. So they all have some relationship with it.
Yeah.
Whether it's gratitude or resentment or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And also everyone in LA is a director. And,
Right.
everyone has and they have a much better understanding of story and whatnot than your average viewer. But it can get carried away. And I've seen a lot of these things really go off the rails, the interpersonal stuff.
I mean, look, my motto about all that is you've got to kind of hear everybody, but listen to yourself. All it is supposed to do is inspire you or your closest colleagues to sort of say, oh, that person is saying something that I get. It rings a bell, and I didn't quite know how to address it, but that person is addressing it in a way that I find helpful. Part 2 is a really genuine consensus. Like,
Right,
Yeah.
that's super valuable. Yes.
Like, oh wow, if half the people are confused about something or didn't know the character's name or their relationship to somebody else or whatever the confusion might be. That's really what I'm looking for.
I feel like it'd be hard to have a screening in LA because there's so many people, and the bigger you are as a director, I feel like oh, everyone's just going to try to impress you on the cards. Like everyone in there is like, oh, maybe he'll recognize that I'm like, I should be his first AD or something. Like everyone wants your approval too.
Your inciting incident is coming in reel 2, and I really think it should be coming in halfway
Exactly.
through reel 1.
You do get that with test screenings in Los Angeles. Even wherever it is in the greater Los Angeles area, it's a crowd with people who've read a couple of screenwriting books. They've watched a couple of master classes. Maybe they made some short films, at least. They're armed with opinions. I think that's what's really valuable about trying to take the films elsewhere. But look, almost anywhere that you show them, you learn something. I tell this story in the book Clinton I did, The Boys.
The Boys.
And which is really just about our childhood. And it starts off when we began acting. And my segment kind of ends with the first movie that I directed, which was Grand Theft Auto for Roger Corman. And that was my first test screening. But Roger Corman was so cheap that he wouldn't have a normal test screening. First, he wouldn't let us add any music. It was a black and white work print with and this was a car crash movie, and a lot of it was just kind of silent. It was just terrible and almost impossible to watch. But Roger made a deal so that he could go to ASI, the place where they test pilots, and you have a dial. And people who are, if you're liking it, you turn the dial to the right. And if you don't like it, you turn it to the left. I think the system is more or less still in, functions. And
for TV, right?
For TV and TV commercials. A lot of do I like the product or do I not like the product? And on days when they didn't have a pilot or an episode or anything to show or a movie, it was only commercials. Roger was allowed to bring his movies in because people would be a little annoyed if all they did was sort of look at commercials. So we walked in, we're gonna test this movie. It's my first movie as a director. It's this kind of rude as rude as you could be in 1977. Kind of this rude car crash comedy, very low budget, kind of zany, certainly for a young audience. We walk in there, and I'm telling you, even in 1977, it was all blue-haired ladies. And because the commercial was Geritol. And I said to Roger, this is not our audience, Roger. He said, a laugh is a laugh. And lo and behold, we did actually.
You did all right.
Screening. We learned something, and they did laugh. So I think people kind of can't help themselves, and they do sort of reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Several of those ladies who were sitting right in front of us were laughing their heads off at people getting kicked in the nuts and the stuff that you would think. And when it was over, they stood up and they said, "Well, that was just rude and despicable," and walked out. But they'd been laughing right along with everybody else.
I love that. Before I wrap up the screening thing, I just want to know, have you over your career had an ace in your sleeve? Is there someone you most reach out to, they'll help you crack the solution? Do you have a peer?
I have several writer pals who are just incredible. One is Lowell Gans, who did Parenthood, Night Shift, Splash, along with Bob Blue-Mandel. He's just got a great editorial mind, fantastic. Another one is Akiva Goldsman, who is a writer-director. Wrote Beautiful Mind, and has been working on the Star Trek series for the last couple of years and writing and directing. And David Koepp, another screenwriting pal of mine. The guy I was texting with is Peter Morgan, who does The Crown. I've done a couple of his movies that he wrote. He's brilliant in the editing room, brilliant and willing to do this for me. So I've got some really bright friends who are willing to do that, and they don't hold back, but they actually do know what's practical. They've all directed as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what's normally can be cumbersome for guests is that I want to talk about their childhood.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I know. Yeah, my dad did that, right? Yeah. My mom did famously jump off a bridge, yes. But in your case, you are here, which is so easy, with a memoir of your childhood, which is right where I love to be talking to people about.
Here we go then.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I think, and I don't know if other people have this sense of you, but you have a Midwestern vibe. And I don't think it's just whatever you absorbed from the Andy Griffith Show.
No.
I think they're you have some kind of Midwestern stock. I can feel it as a fellow Midwesterner.
Yeah.
And in fact, yes, you were born in Oklahoma?
I was born in Duncan, Oklahoma, which was my mom's hometown. They refer to themselves, or at least they used to during her childhood, which might have been more the boomtown days, as the buckle on the oil belt. Also, the original home of Halliburton
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And my dad was raised on farms back and forth between the Oklahoma and Kansas border, both Depression era kids, neither Dust Bowl refugees,
Right.
but they're products of that time. But both with this dream of being in the movies, basically. Somehow they made it happen. They had no right to make it happen, but they did and opened the way for my brother Clint and I.
Yeah, so their mutual interest in Hollywood predate them being together. And in fact, like, did they meet in an acting class?
They did meet in an acting class at OU. And Dennis Weaver, you remember Dennis Weaver? He was McLeod, and before that he was Chester on Gunsmoke. And
Sure.
he introduced them. Later, he starred as my brother's father in Gentle Ben. So Dennis played a big factor in our family history. But yeah, Dad just knew he didn't want to be a farmer. We talk about that a little bit in the book, and his relationship with his own dad, which was dysfunctional but not cruel. Not mentally a little bit cruel, but wasn't an abused kid. He certainly wanted to parent in a different way, and he did. He broke a kind of a cycle there. But more than anything, he had this amazing imagination, and he decided he wanted to be a singing cowboy. Nobody told him he couldn't carry a tune. I mean, hopeless to the day he died.
Sure. We could all benefit from taking ourselves to a friends and families training, getting a little feedback, just as people.
And my mom loved it. And in fact, right out of high school, was accepted at the New York Academy of Dramatic Arts and went to New York. Family had a store, and they weren't wealthy, but they had enough money to be able to send somebody away to school. She had a horrible accident, was hit by a truck, nearly died, came back home, recovered, and then decided, okay, I'm not going back to New York, but I will go to OU, which was 90 miles away from Duncan. And there they met, in a scene class of some sort, fell in love. My dad felt like she had 2 or 3 guys interested in her. And one thing kind of led to another. I describe it in more detail, and so does my brother Clint in the book. But they ran away, basically, and they kind of joined the circus. Not the circus, but our circus, show business.
And they came to Hollywood, and what level of success did they have? And how were they supporting you guys before you were starting to make money?
Acting, although my mom was a typist at CBS in the days before copy machines and whatnot, and she could really type. I mean, she was a dynamo. And they would also make money typing envelopes for a penny a piece for companies, businesses, and so forth. So they were constantly doing that sort of thing. But outside of, right at the very, very beginning, kind of odd jobs, working as a theater usher or loading refrigerators and stuff like that my dad did early on, he was able to make a living acting. Now, he never became a star. He was one of those guys that you sort of see his face and you recognize it from Chinatown or some sitcom, or you just a Seinfeld. You've seen him. You don't know. You wouldn't necessarily know his name. And he did that all his life, but he was always a journeyman. Always a journeyman, always struggling, always auditioning, always not getting as many parts as he wanted, playing the numbers game. And every 10 auditions, he'd get a job, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And so how much older are you than Clint?
5 years.
So what's so nice when I look at your thing from the outside is you seem to have always been so supportive and loving and outwardly praiseful of Clint.
Right.
My brother's 5 years older than me, and we're like in a different century or something. I think it says a lot about you that you would be 5 years older and also show such kindness to your brother. I think that's rare.
Well, we'd wrestle and fight and carry on. And of course, we're the only siblings in our family. My mom lost a child, stillborn baby before me. And that had an impact on her and on the family in a lot of ways that resonated over the years. But we were close. And also, we did move around quite a bit. And we were working. And sometimes on location, and sometimes together on location. And these things really pulled us together. We're 2 very different dudes. Ideologically, in terms of personalities, he's much more of an extrovert, I'm an introvert. It's very different. But we just always loved each other, and Dad would sort of remind us of that. When we were having these spats, and of course I was the big brother, was supposed to be cool and never hurt the little guy. So I had that responsibility. Although he was hard to hurt. He was tough.
He looks like he'd keep coming.
He did. He always did. I mean, with a maniacal laugh. But he said, you guys are going to grow up and you have a chance to be friends for the rest of your life. And if you do that, that's going to be a great thing. Now, it turns out that he was estranged, really, eventually and later in adulthood with his younger brother. And so I think even then, I think he was feeling some distance and sort of a longing in a way.
I would also imagine for him coming from Oklahoma, where there's a kind of tight-knit community, there's a safety net, there's probably an occupation you would inherit from your family. And now you guys are out here and you have each other. It feels like the stakes would be higher if I was a parent coming from there, landing here. I'd be like, you guys, you got to look out for one another. We're in a crazy dog-eat-dog city here.
They loved it, and they both had this great outlook that while, of course, Dad would have liked to have been Gary Cooper or something. And when Mom retired from acting for a long time while we were being raised, and then came back and kind of worked a ton on sitcoms, kind of like I called her the new little old lady on the sitcom block. She got all the neighbor parts and all that stuff. But they loved that they could actually make a living at this thing. And at a certain point, they just embraced that, but they never really fully fit in. My mom coined this phrase, sophisticated hicks. And she felt like that's kind of what they had become. But they never were not hicks. And they never had that kind of mentality,
You should stop by our house. It's a beautiful, very coveted 1 acre flat lot that I've parked 65 vehicles in.
Wow.
So I can relate. Now, you started so young. So you get on Andy Griffith at 6, or maybe even got it at 5 and started at 6.
Yeah, that's right.
Was that instigated by you, or did your parents say you should do this? Where did the interest come from?
I go into real detail in the book. The reason we did this about our childhood, by the way, really came from Tom Hanks, because people have been asking me if I was going to do a book and would I ever do it? And I didn't really want to. I certainly wouldn't want to do some kind of tell-all thing, that wouldn't interest me. And I just didn't feel it. And I was talking to Hanks one day on the set, and he said, just do your childhood. That's the strangest aspect of your life and the one people are most curious about. And it's great because you've had a terrific adult career. So, how did that happen? And he's the one who sold that idea. I put it away, still didn't do anything about it. And 18, 19 years later, our dad passed. And Clint and I were getting ready for the memorial. And in preparing the memorial and looking through the photos and doing all of that stuff, I told Clint what Hanks had said, and I said, should we do it together? Should we do our childhood? Because I can't separate mine from yours in a way. And it's a way to also help people understand the mostly good and not entirely wonderful things that our parents did, but mostly they really helped us navigate this thing. And so how did that happen?
If I were you, but I'm sensitive and fragile, like I would have been for many years, I would have been like, I know I was on those shows.
Right.
I direct these movies. It takes 2 years of my life. It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
I know it's so exciting. I was on those shows, but onward.
I've always felt that. And I feel it far less in the last decade or so than before. Now I view it as an unbelievably rare relationship that I have with the business, and I certainly have with fans. And now I appreciate it. I'm going to freaking name drop right now. I
can't imagine you have a ton of friends that wouldn't be named dropped.
Yeah, it's okay. It's your life.
Well, I did a documentary about the Beatles, 8 Days a Week, it was called. And when we were promoting it, and I spent time with Sir Paul and Ringo and family and et cetera, and got to know them a bit, interviewed them a few times. And once the movie was out, they both really liked it, which of course meant the world to me. And I was walking in a publicity situation just down a hallway with McCartney. And he said, I'm really glad people are liking the film. I really like the film. And I don't think we could have done it up until about 3 or 4 years ago, because up until then, I didn't want to talk about it. I would. I knew I had to, but I didn't want to. And I turned a corner and suddenly I want to. As I was beginning to work on the book with Clint, I felt that. So here's the book. But to really answer your question, our parents, they recognized through my dad directing the summer stock productions and my mom helping out, either acting or ushering or being the ticket woman or the wardrobe person or whatever she was doing to make these summer stock productions happen, that I was picking up on all the dialogue when I was around 3. And they thought that was adorable. And so my dad cooked up a scene. My dad had been in the Broadway version of Mr. Roberts and also On the Road with Henry Fonda. And so that was his favorite show, and he would often direct that show in summer stock. And so he cooked up this scene. He would play the Henry Fonda character from the movie and the play, and I would play Ensign Pulver, the Jack Lemmon character from the movie. And we would do this scene, and people would just get a huge kick out of it. And I kind of remember that.
Well, can I quickly ask
Yeah.
you, when you would do that, was that in front of 5 people or that was on
Five.
stage?
No, 5
Okay,
people. Living
okay.
room entertainment. But I have like one memory of actually doing it in a living room and people laughing. And that felt good. It
Yeah,
was fun.
of course.
So Dad sort of stumbled into this opportunity where he saw a bunch of kids being auditioned. And he just left a note saying, I have a son who's a fine actor. It's Rance Howard stopping by. He wanted the casting director to just have his phone number and remember his name. And they called back and they said, well, bring your son in. So he did, and we did this scene from Mr. Roberts together. They said, do you think he can learn anything else? And my dad said, I have no idea.
But if Jack Lemmon gets on the next movie.
We're in great shape. We're golden. So anyway, they gave him some sides, and I did the scene, and he helped prepare me some very interesting ways, and which again, I sort of go into more detail into the book. But that was the key. Is I think he turned out to be kind of a genius at teaching a young mind how to connect with a character, not play act, not be like a performing animal that looks adorable and cute. It was actually understanding what was going on. And my brother was writing about it as well. We both really, really felt that. And so in that initial audition, I think it was revealed that I had an aptitude for it. I think it was also revealed that he had a kind of a gift for, in a gentle Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of way, bringing that sort of thing out of me. And then
To
later
direct
did the
you.
same thing with Clint. Yeah.
Well, you must have thought this over the years. So my daughters are 6 and 8, and your job as a parent is to gently nudge them places. If you tell them where to go, they ain't going there. So
Right.
you really learn how to work with these two actors,
Yes.
really.
Yeah.
And I have many times thought like, I think I could really get them to do something. I would never do it, but I could see where your father probably had a wonderful shorthand with knowing exactly how to talk to you.
Yeah.
Once you got Andy Griffith, would he be around at all during
Oh, a lot.
Or
a lot.
lot.
Well, he was a freelance actor. So if he got a job, he wasn't there. My mom would come.
You're right.
In. He wasn't on a series. He wasn't getting 12 weeks on a movie. It was a week here and 2 days there. And otherwise, he was there. He and Andy, about the same age, hit it off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Andy later told me, many years later, he said, your dad came to me early on and said, they're writing Opie the way they write every sitcom kid. And the father-son relationship is this kind of wise-ass thing. I understand that works. But what if Opie actually respected his father? And he said, he went to the writers and he said, let's write Opie Andy a little bit like Rance and Ronnie. So I'm always grateful for that Andy was willing to listen. And then my dad had the gumption to sort of actually speak up.
Well, and also, if you think about what the appeal of that show is, I suppose there's many explanations, but one most certainly has to be like male wish fulfillment, that you would be a man respected in your community and your son would look up to you.
Yeah.
It's not something every dad has.
Yeah. It certainly evolved. The other interesting thing about the show, which doesn't have that much to do with fathers and sons, is it is completely about a created family environment. Nobody's married. If you think about it, everybody lives in this town, but Barney doesn't have a wife, has a girlfriend. Andy's is a widower. Aunt B is coming to help. It's all about people finding the love and support they need from others.
Yeah.
And it's so unique in a lot of ways.
Okay, so now I would imagine a lot of things are going to grow out of this crazy experience, crazy opportunity. One being you're not in school. Sometimes you're in school. Your brother at some age probably is aspiring to do the same thing.
He never aspired, but at age 2, he was recruited. And he showed up in a funny little, with his cowboy hat, and they put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in his hand, and he wound up being a character on the Andy Griffith Show he would play this character, Leon, who was constantly trying to get Don Knotts, Barney Fife, to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he never said a word. But the regular every week director, Bob Sweeney, took over a show and brought Clint over into that. And Clint was a regular on that show at age, I don't know, 4, and,
Wow.
and could do it.
And so when all these other elements start accompanying this experience, of course, this is your only experience. So obviously you have nothing to compare it to. It's
Right.
not relative to anything else. But let me just say, in my school, if I had disappeared for like 12 weeks and I came back and I was super popular because TV, they would have killed me.
Yeah.
They would have just killed me.
Yeah.
The other boys would not have been able to stand that threat to
Yeah.
their standing.
There was some killing.
I've had some deaths.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We are supported by Auto Trader. All right, if you've been putting off car shopping because it sounds like a whole thing, buying your car online on Auto Trader makes it way easier, really. You can shop tons of cars online, compare prices, check financing and trade-in options, all from wherever you are. And if you want to start online and go to the dealership for a test drive, you can do that too, really. What I like is the flexibility. Start online, finish at the dealer, or the other way around. Your info stays with you, so you're not starting the process from scratch. Plus, you're working with local dealer listings, so you've got real people helping behind the scenes. And when you're ready, you can pick up your car or have it delivered. Really. Buy your car online on Auto Trader. Really. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. You've heard us talk about BetterHelp for a while, but I don't know that we've ever talked about how much people love this service when they use it. BetterHelp has an average live therapy session rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client session reviews. And you can check out the reviews yourself at betterhelp.com/reviews to see how much they love BetterHelp. Knowing that kind of service feedback from real people speaks for itself. I'm a huge proponent of therapy, as we've talked about before. I've learned so many things about myself that I believe truly only an outside, objective person could help me come to. BetterHelp makes it easy to get started. Answer a few questions, get matched with a therapist based on your needs, and switch therapists at any time if it's not the right fit. See the reviews, see what stands out, and see if BetterHelp is right for you. Visit betterhelp.com/Dax. That's betterhelp.com/Dax.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, HP, for supporting this episode. Parents, you've got enough on your back-to-school list right now. Ink cartridges do not need to be on it. They just don't. The HP Smart Tank printer uses a refillable ink tank and comes with up to 3 years of ink included. It's the last printer you'll ever need. To learn more, search HP Smart Tank.
This episode is supported by Helix. All right, let's talk about something we both really care deeply about: sleep.
It's the most important thing. I've had my Helix mattress for years now, and I genuinely think it's one of the best investments you can make for your home. Mine still feels just like it did when I first got it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not one of those mattresses that caves in after 6 months. These things are built to last. And I'm a side sleeper. I ordered a side sleeper and I get hot, so I have cooling. And I can't tell you how much more comfortable it is to be in there not sweating and tossing and turning.
Cooling is really important. I've read that you're supposed to sleep a little bit cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I also have cooling. And they have over 20 models, so it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. You just go take their quiz and they match you to what actually works for your body.
Plus, they've got cooling upgrades, which heading into summer, non-negotiable.
Truly.
Go to helixsleep.com/armchair for 20% off. That's helixsleep.com/armchair for 20% off. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/armchair.
Going back to school was always a trial. And the very first year that I went sort of back to public school, I think it was the second grade, it was really miserable. I was embarrassed. It was uncomfortable. Kids weren't necessarily kind. And I remember my parents saying, well, I would go back in in March or something, So, there were only a few months left in the year. And they said, well, we can't get you into a private school or anything right now. So hang in. And if you don't want to go to Stevenson Elementary School in Burbank, California. Next year, you won't have to, but just try to soldier through this if you can. And we talked about it. And Dad had, of course, my dad was kind of tough. He was kind and gentle.
Was he in the Air Force?
He was in the Air Force, but he'd also had really been a kind of an amateur boxer, kind of thought about being a pro and had some skills and whatnot. He was always telling me, punch him in the nose, which I never did. I never took him up on that advice, but he and I wrestled all the time. We loved Channel 5 wrestling with Whoa Nilly Dick Lane, who was, if you were from the era in California in the 50s and 60s, who Whoa Nilly Dick Lane was. But I loved wrestling, and we wrestled all the time. And I would wrestle these kids. And, fighting was wrestling. So you'd say, you want to fight, and you'd clash, and I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah.
Later, when people started punching and stuff, couldn't do that. Realized right away I was not a natural born fighter.
Pugilist.
Yeah. But I did wind up in really enjoying that year. I got through the couple of weeks, and it wasn't a nightmare. And they said, what do you think about next year when the time rolled around? And I said, no, I want to go back to Stevenson. So I stayed in the Burbank school system the whole time.
And went to John Burroughs, yeah?
John Burroughs High School. Yeah. That's where I met Cheryl, my wife, Cheryl. We met in Burroughs.
You met her at?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We talk about that in the book a little bit too.
That's the high school that Glee is based off of.
That's right. Years later. And at the time, they weren't as tremendously competitive, but they had a good theater program, which I stayed away from. Of course, that's not what I wanted to do. I was co-editor of the paper, and I was on the basketball team. That was my thing.
Now, what about, did the gals like you and the guys, were they threatened by you?
I was pretty introverted, and I think I was probably a little squelched socially by that sort of that weirdness that I would feel. So I was extremely tentative. So not a lot of dating. I had a few very close friends. Noel Salvatore is one of them. We're still close. We were the co-editors of the paper together, and met Cheryl. Fell in love with Cheryl in our junior year. But I was tentative and cautious about these kids. I got along with them. They were teammates. But I don't think I really trusted them entirely.
Well, you must have always felt other. You were just too famous to not feel other, I'm sure.
Yeah, which made life on sets pretty great because that's a place I was comfortable.
We just interviewed Elijah Wood, and I did this movie, Zathura, speaking of David Koepp, with two great young actors, Josh Hutcherson and Jonah Bobo, and I would talk a lot with his family. The families had tons of concerns, as you would expect. But in some weird way, I was like, oh, man, I understand their fear, but at the same time, here you have this 7-year-old and a 12-year-old in an environment where they're applauded when they're emotionally available and they're applauded when they're sensitive. And I was like, I mean, in some way, this is like Eden for a nice, sensitive kid.
Yeah.
To be respected and celebrated for being emotionally available.
I think it means so much, first of all, for any child to feel competency, to understand that in a genuine way, there is something they're capable of doing well. And I don't think it has to be show business or sports, but I think if you can help your kid find that thing which they can actually, and learn it, practice it, to the extent that you actually can feel competent, I think that's a huge confidence builder that means the world. We both benefited from that. It makes the fall a little bit harder when you get to the awkward years and suddenly that environment that you found so welcoming is kind of closed off to you, which really happens to most kids, especially boys, when they kind of go through what they call, the awkward years, where they also, the rules. If you're under 18, your hours are limited and you can't do as much night shooting. You can work, but you can't do as much. So if you're 16, they'd rather hire, any production would rather hire somebody over 18 who can work 16 hours and not be cut off at 8. So that's where a lot of trauma occurs, because there's, at that very raw, vulnerable period in your life, you're also suddenly you can't help but feel rejected, no matter how much you might understand it on some intellectual level or somebody might explain it to you. You feel like, I thought I had a place there.
Right. That would be, I think, the most nerve-wracking is like, all of us, even when you're 9 and 14, you have an identity, and the identity includes that thing. And then to recognize, oh, this thing that's always been there, wait, that cannot be there. And then who am I if I'm not that? Now I re-enter this whole you go from knowing what you want to do to going, well, what else do I want?
Yeah,
It's very
yeah,
scary.
yeah.
And are there two different experiences? Like, is Andy Griffith one experience for you, and then Happy Days is another one due to either maturity or So, like, what level did you want to be on either show?
Well, again, I never aspired to anything around the Andy Griffith Show other than to be a part of it, which they allowed me to be, to a very kind of mature level. Certainly by the end of the show, by the time I was 13, 14, I was a part of this cast. Happy Days was very different. Tonally, it was very different. I was handling my own career. There were career decisions. There were some shifts and dynamics that occurred. My character was sort of the lead, and Henry Winkler's character just blew up and sort of took over, which was fantastic within our little unit because we viewed the whole thing as an ensemble sort of experience, and Henry's the most gracious guy, and we were almost immediately great friends to the point of almost feeling like brothers. I mean, within almost no time. And so that was always fine. But the way the executives perceived me, the kind of feedback I was getting from the press, kind of always trying to stir up anxiety, creatively, all of these things I had to face as an adult. And of course, there were no politics. There was nothing like that around the Andy Griffith Show. That was a childhood experience. This was a grown-up experience. This was the real world of show business, even at an elevated level where you're the star, you're the top billed guy on a hit show. And yet it's still this complicated emotional minefield. What do you do about that? And I also had a push and pull because I had such a fire in the belly to become a director. And I'd actually left film school to do the show. And so I wondered whether I was taking the money and shortchanging my dream. There were other factors there.
Okay, well, if you don't understand the great appeal of your personal story, which I have to imagine you do, let me tell you from the outside what's so intriguing. I believe the reason people will always want to talk about this with you is you took a job that's impossible to get and impossible to achieve at, and you did it twice. Mm-hmm. And then you left. And so you must recognize, like, you're taking something that is almost impossible to acquire and achieve, and you're saying goodbye to it. I mean, you actively left that show when you could have continued on for another few years. Right. And so that act of conviction about what you wanted to do and who you ultimately were, it steers every fear in us we could possibly have. Would we have the courage to do that? You happen to be an example of someone who listened to themselves and it worked out beautifully. And I do wonder, even as I read about you over again today, thinking, he must not have the same fear of financial insecurity that I have, because I don't know that I could have, just financially speaking, walked away from security.
You know, it's really interesting. Even though my parents were of the Depression era, they were not very materialistic. Now, they were not hippies, but stuff didn't really matter to them beyond a certain level. They had a kind of a mindset, which is why I think they always took joy in the fact that they owned their own home. That was it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. American dreams.
Yeah. And even around the Andy Griffith Show and later, I mean, they were open with me about what I was earning. And at a certain point, I was quite clearly out earning my father.
Right.
Which, again, I think he handled incredibly well. But I think they sort of armed me with a sense. Also, I saved my money. So by the time I was making that decision about Happy Days, I had a bank account. It wasn't a retirement circumstance, but I had a bank account. And that was a tremendous luxury.
Yeah. So what kind of dynamics other than, like, so obviously social, school, all those things get complicated. It sounds like your father navigated this almost perfectly, but you certainly hear of parents who just can't help but have jealousy over their kids realizing their dreams. And I imagine when it happens, it probably isn't even just like, it doesn't probably start with jealousy. It probably is triggered by witnessing the kid maybe not be grateful for it or being, quote, lazy about it. Like, I think the frustration of, do you know what you fucking got? I've wanted this forever. Or you got to take this serious. Like, I can't imagine escaping that.
Yeah. I can't imagine it either. And yet it was my experience, which is, I think, one of the reasons that I think we both wanted to do the book is there's an outlier story here. And it's not
Yeah.
just my dad, it's also my mom, and it's even their unlikely romance and the life they had. And somehow these sophisticated hicks kind of navigated this thing for us, required a lot of sacrifice on their part. They didn't bank this money. They took a very nominal manager fee, far less than a real manager would ever charge. And decision after decision, at least the major ones, were kind of remarkable, and yet they were flying by the seat of their pants. It was just instinct. It was just some kind of an instinct.
Did you and your brother have a competitive nature or any jealousy or anything like that?
I only felt it a little bit later, and it was kind of when I was going through my dry period where people were not casting me so much, and the Andy Griffith Show was over and other things were not so great, and I was trying to decide what my adult identity was going to be, and I wanted to be a director, and I feeling moody and crappy and all that stuff. He was getting like tremendous parts, one after another. And once or twice we went up for the same thing, and he got them.
It's like the Williams sisters.
Just for a brief moment. But the age difference actually really benefited us.
Right.
And so that wasn't ever a problem. And Clint's, I don't know if you know him, Dax, if you ever worked with him.
I've never met him, but most comedians are obsessed with your brother. I can't explain why. I just inherited it. I went to the Groundlings, and there was a show called The Clint Howard Show.
Is that
There was
right?
a Clint Howard. Yes.
Wow.
And then there was a Clint Howard band. People are obsessed with Clint Howard.
Yeah. He's a very unique guy. The way we wrote the book is I wrote, Clint wrote. We were interviewed by this guy, David Camp, who's a great journalist. He helped us collect thoughts. He'd do a little writing and organizing. He'd send it back to us and rewrite it. And Clint's voice just comes out at you in the book. It's offbeat. It's very particular. There's a wisdom in it. He's lived a lot of life. And through it, I kind of gained a kind of clarity that even though he's my younger brother, sometimes I'll lean on him for advice because he's just sees the world in a different way and voices it in a different way. And he's just a character. And he was like that by the time he could walk. He just had a completely different vibe, great athlete, all kinds of things.
Can I postulate as to why, as someone who's 5 years younger than my brother, which is when you're Clint and I,
right?
They're doing it correctly.
Right.
The correct route is taken. Literally.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to eat with my mouth closed? You've been doing that for 4 years. No one's going to pat me on the back. It's not exciting. I've got to fucking throw my dish on the ground and eat like a dog and make everyone laugh. You know, so you're
must be
already
something to
doing
that.
everything the correct way.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get attention doing it the right way. I'm only going to get attention with a novel approach to anything mundane.
He found that novelty. And he's made a life out of it and a career.
I'm going to argue one other point, and you have 4 kids, so you must have noticed this. I noticed this with our second child, which is she didn't give a fuck about consequences. And I couldn't figure out, where does she get this fortitude?
Yeah.
And what I realized is, like, if I give her a negative reaction to something, she has an older sister. She's gotten 6,000 negative responses by breakfast from the older sibling. So guess what? She's like over it. Like, oh, you're disappointed too? Okay. No big deal. Yeah, everyone's disappointed. You're like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
There's so much that happens.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's fascinating. This is a digression, but Cheryl and I have twins. They're grown women, and one has 3 kids. But I learned the most watching these 2 kids grow up together.
Are they fraternal or identical?
Fraternal.
Okay.
So they're always just sisters and close, but raised in the same environment, totally different attitudes and outlooks. And it's definitely, I'm going to take this space, you go in that lane, or you're in that lane, I'm going in that lane. And you could see it from jump. So I think what you're saying just makes a world of sense. I'll have to try it out on Clint.
Yeah, a family's a band. So if you're already playing trumpet and dad's playing drums, I got to play the harmonica. what other instrument is left for me? You know? I want to say it kind of maybe there's a bit of grace in that you've been able to probably have more control over your career than Clint has.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're the older brother. I actually could speak personally about this, which is my sister's an actress and she's fantastic. I've put her in a couple things and she's really dynamite. And moving here from Michigan, to anyone in Michigan, to know that she's been in TV shows and in movies with many, many lines and did great and done press, that's a fucking home run.
Right.
But I'm her brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's relative to me, which really sucks
Right.
for her.
Yeah.
But the age helps now, I think. If I were the younger sibling, it'd be harder for her.
Yeah. Look, Clint's, again, sure. But although he never projects that, and maybe because he sort of is following in dad's footsteps in that way. Also, I think he always felt like I'm working too fucking hard.
Sure.
And it's not really worth it. And he loves it. And he does it, but no Great Jones to direct or run the show. And would he like bigger parts, make a little more dough? Sure, maybe. But he's kind of got his life together. And so...
Well, you've missed some things. Again, I have a couple friends that are in the stratosphere, and it's a very specific life, and it's pretty isolating, and it's pretty lonely, and you're gone a lot. And so when you're on the outside, you can also recognize like, oh, yeah, I want the house, but I certainly don't want to be gone for 8 of the next 12 years.
Yeah. I think he's always sort of had that feeling that, sure, he loves it, but he doesn't love it the way I do. I have a craving. And a kind of ambition that's beyond monetary. It's something else. And maybe it is, I think it goes to self-analyze. I think it does go back to that satisfaction that I felt and comfort around a set versus the real world. Clint was always very comfortable in the real world, far more so than I was. Got along great in school. So I think the fact that the outside world was of more interest to him and he was willing to take more risks in it, probably made him not want to get lost on a soundstage and stay there more or less forever.
Indefinitely. Till someone comes and wheels you out. Takes you to hospice. Can I ask you a few fun, smoldering questions? First of all, I think we're on about 380 interviews, and this is the first time I've interviewed a boss, former boss. So this is kind of novel. This is exciting in that way.
Tell people about that in case they don't know.
Yeah, so of course, Ron directed the most amazing movie ever, Parenthood, who I grew up loving and watching, and then I was lucky enough to be on a television show version of that movie.
Right.
And then through that, I got to meet Ron a couple times, and then I even auditioned for you at one point while on the show.
Yes.
And you were such a kind person
For
to
a
audition
movie.
for a movie he was directing that Vince Vaughn was in.
Right.
Channing Tatum got it, and you know what? That's all right with me. I'm friends with Channing Tatum, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of people
that
like,
sort of introduced
that
him to comedy. Crosby, Braverman.
Yeah.
Well, you were great on the show. And Brian Grazer, I mean, we're just fans. You won us over in a big way. That was a terrific experience because we didn't have to do much, if anything, except support Jason. And he took the format, the names, the number of offspring, which he felt like, because when he first came in, Brian and I both said, why Parenthood? Why don't you just make up a show? He'd already done Friday Night Lights with Brian.
Yeah.
For a few seasons, and he was great. We would support him in anything that he wanted to do. He said, there's something that you guys and Gans and Mandel just got right about that. And it's a title people recognize deservedly, but I want to take it another way. It's not for laughs. There's comedy, but I have this other idea and the set of problems and a dynamic within the family. And if you'll give me that freedom, I really think the framework will accept it. And he was so right about it. And it was just great to see it, the way it flourished.
Well, I think what you achieved in the film, we wouldn't call Parenthood a dramedy. That's not the right ratio. Maybe a comma, whatever the fuck, comedy first, but drama, real life stuff.
Yeah.
Real emotion.
Yes.
And so, in some sense, the brand Parenthood really meant that. It meant this fun, messy, real. Yeah. And so you gave him that cornerstone to start on. I think it allowed him to let you parachute into the show without much explanation, which I think is great.
Yeah. By the way, if you took the screenplay of Parenthood and sort of took it around to studios today, nobody would do it because it was kind of dark at times. There were minutes without laughs. And real discomfort. And then when the laughs came, they came hard because you were ready.
And
yes.
sadness.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What a fucking crazy gift. I mean, you would never connect these dots because you're not busy thinking about me, but I spend a ton of time thinking about myself. And the notion that, you do that movie when you do it, that leads to this show that for me buys me like another 2 decades as an actor. Truly, like I got to do something I had never done and opened up all these things. Like,
Did you first direct on the show or had you directed elsewhere?
yeah, I'd made a $5,000 movie and then $1 million car chase movie and then directed on the show.
I see. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even I said this to you when we got together, but we share this in common in that you directed Grand Theft Auto
Right.
virtually right out of the gates.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and if I could brag for us, shooting cars is not easy.
No.
You can count on a couple hands how many people have done it right. It is not easy to make cars look like they're going fast.
That's all true. And years later, when I was doing Rush, which was this very realistic Formula One drama based
Great
on real
movie.
relationship of a rivalry in the sport in the 70s, I found myself going back to Grand Theft Auto and remembering a lot of little tricks and things like that.
Oh, well, I watched your movie prior to making my car chase movie, and I watched Duel. And you kind of recognize, let's nerd out for 1 second. You can see the talent awaiting because some of his shots, the way he showed you how cars were going fast, were so inventive, even for his first movie.
Yeah. People haven't seen Spielberg's TV movie Duel, which, by the way, stars Dennis Weaver, the man who introduced my mother and father.
Right.
You get it because I haven't watched it in 15 or 20 years, but the last time I watched it, it still rocked and it's intense.
I stole shots in 2012 from that.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
there's a way to stay in the backseat of a car.
Yeah.
When you're in the backseat of a car, if that's your point of view of something,
Yeah.
you're just instantly more terrified because you know you don't have the steering wheel.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. He had something, that young director. Turned
out.
He knew a thing or two already.
As I go through these questions I've never asked you in the times we've been around one another, first and foremost, just for me, I mean, Night Shift, what a special movie Night Shift is.
That was Gans and Mandel. And Lowell had been a head writer and showrunner at a certain point. Probably Gary Marshall never fully relinquished that credit, but Lowell was really responsible for Happy Days for a couple of key years. And we became great pals, but more than anything, this guy was just kind of remarkably talented.
Now, remind me, where is Michael Keaton at before Night Shift?
He was an up-and-coming comic who was taking off, but he was acting in a show with Jim Belushi called Working Stiffs, also on the Paramount lot. And it only went one season, but it turned out that Lowell had directed the pilot or the first episode or something like that and knew Michael. And when we were doing Night Shift, which was Brian Grazer's idea, that was the beginning of Imagine, really. That was the beginning of it wasn't an Imagine project. We didn't form the company for another 5 or 6 years. But that was the beginning of the partnership. And we couldn't get movie stars. We couldn't get movie stars to be in it. They just didn't trust me. You know, and we couldn't get them. Script was good. The studio was behind it. Couldn't get stars. It almost died. And we went to Henry Winkler. And I said, you can play either part. And the studio will greenlight the movie if you say yes, because they can get a pre-buy from CBS. And he was, the biggest television star in the world at that point. Movies, he hadn't had any blockbuster hits, but he was doing movies. And he said yes. And he said, I want to play the straight man, though, because I feel like if I play this crazy person, it's just sort of a cousin to Fonzie, and I don't want to do that. I want to play this. I know this guy. I grew up on the Upper West Side. I know this guy.
Well, really quick, ironically, does anyone even know at that point that Henry Winkler really isn't the Fonz? I mean,
No
has
one.
that been revealed? No one even knew, right?
Not really. Well, he'd been in a TV movie, a serious TV movie that was about the Weather Underground. He'd done a couple of comedies, so he'd done a few things away.
But he is a sweet, sweet man.
Oh, and a highly intelligent and a real artist and a remarkable guy, which is so great that Barry is such an amazing show and he's so amazing in it because he's still going and you're still getting to witness what he has to offer. But anyway, once he wasn't going to do that part, but we had a green light, Lowell said, if we didn't need a movie star, and since Bill Murray and Chevy Chase all passed, if we just want somebody who's really fucking funny, this guy, Michael Keaton, is on fire. Nobody knows him. The show's canceled, but he would kill. And he came in and just won it. He won it with the audition, and he was amazing.
Wow.
And the studio was so terrified. They wanted Brian and I to fire him after about 3 days. And I said, are you kidding me? And they said, he's all over the place. And I said, yes, but that's what coverage is for. I'm going to take that. The first reading when he walks in the door, dynamite. The take falls apart, but the first reading, dynamite. The middle, look at that 2-shot. And I had to I was 27 years old having to walk these veterans through how we could get a comedy performance out of this that was brilliant. And I was right.
Oh my God. I can't tell you, even like within 4 days ago, I had a kid in the car ask me if I could turn the stereo up. And I said, I can turn it up, I can turn it down, I can put it in back and put it in front, make it reverberate.
Brilliant. That's great.
Okay. And then another thing I have to ask you about, because I wonder if this kind of thing percolates up to you. Do you know there's a pretty big fascination with Brimley being 49 in Cocoon?
Yes.
Look, I saw the movie as a kid. He was a grandpa. I'm fucking 47 in a minute. Like, what are we talking about?
I know. He was like 15 to 20 years younger than everybody else.
Yeah. Did you have reservations about that? Or did you, like, how did that happen?
Oh, I met him. The producers liked him for it. He was very good. He'd been great in The Natural and a couple of things that I'd seen, Tender Mercies. And we did a test. I mean, he came in basically, he had dyed his hair white. He was, bald on top, and he dyed the fringe. And he said, with a little makeup, I can get there, I can play it. And we just believed him. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, even though he was pretty curmudgeonly and difficult. But, but talk about improv. Without being jokey or reaching for comedy, although he could be very funny, or straining in any way, he turned that movie on its ear by being improvisationally brilliant. And in rehearsals, I identified this and totally ran with it. And it scared the hell out of everybody else because that's not what they did.
Well, nobody did that then. Let's be honest.
Well, not so much. But, but he was just great. And there's a famous scene, or a fairly famous scene, where he's fishing with his grandson. And he's talking about he's probably going to go up on a spaceship. And he's telling the kid. And it was a scene that was written in a bedroom, kind of like a sitcom scene or a Walton's episode or something. And he said, how about if it was just me and the boy fishing? And I said, okay, we can try that. Yeah. I mean, I had to talk the studio into it and everything. And I said, but I want to just talk to the boy. He'll know the lines, but I'd like to just talk to the boy. And I said, okay, just as long as if we need it, we can go in and do the scripted version. And I sort of had to negotiate these things with him because he was pretty prickly.
Sure.
And I went in and I basically said, okay, we're betting on his improvs. And we'll get 3 cameras and we'll do it like a TV show. We'll do wide, medium, tight, and tighter. Because I knew he wouldn't want to do a lot of takes and it was improvised. And that's what we did. And it was this beautiful.
And he gave it to you.
Oh my God. And I mean, it was a real lesson. It was a real lesson for me also to take a risk and trust an actor, even though we weren't like buds. We annoyed one another in a lot of ways. But this thing we agreed upon, I thought it really changed the whole movie, because suddenly everybody had to not be in a sort of a sci-fi comedy, but instead be in a movie that was grounded.
Had real moments.
And had real moments, grounded in reality. To the point where he didn't like that there were aliens. He said, why do they need all these aliens in spaceships? I said, well, that's kind of the entire movie. Yeah, but how about if we just talk to each other? Well, I like the talking to each other, but we need the aliens. And
let me sit down with an extra thick bowl of Quaker. Let's talk to these Martians. Straighten them out. Let me take the Martians fishing.
To get him to actually look at the C-stand with the tennis ball on top of it that was the alien, I had to get people to play them. And he would look at people. He just, which I kind of get, I kind of get.
Yeah. Look, whatever it takes to be great.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We are supported by HP. If you're a parent, or you know one, like I do, or you can help take care of kids, you already know what August feels like. It's not summer anymore, it's the pregame. The supplies list, the forms, the we need this printed by tomorrow texts that come in at 9 p.m. And I say this as someone who's been on the receiving end of those texts in a former life. You're ready to help, and then the printer says no, out of ink, blinking at you, useless. It's such a small thing, but it will absolutely derail your night. So when I heard about the HP Smart Tank printer from HP, America's most trusted printer brand, I thought this is the kind of thing that actually makes life easier, not in a big flashy way, in a one less crisis way. Instead of those little cartridges that run out the second you need them, the HP Smart Tank uses refillable ink tanks, and it comes with up to 3 years of ink included. 3 years. That's 3 back-to-school seasons without the cartridge panic. HP can't fill out the forms for you, but they can make sure the printer is never the reason you're up past midnight. Search HP Smart Tank.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. We've talked before about Rob building our website on Squarespace, and I bring it up again because it's a perfect example of what they do well. Rob had all the pieces, the content, the vision, the ideas, but he needed something to actually take all that and make it public facing. And Squarespace was that bridge. Maybe you're in the same spot. You've been developing something, a business, a skill set, a body of work, and it's been private. It's been yours. But at some point, you're ready to put it out there, and that transition from private to public can feel like a huge leap. Squarespace makes it feel like a step. Beautiful templates, built-in SEO, email campaigns, scheduling, analytics, everything you need to go from "I've been working on this" to "here it is, come find me." All in one place, no code, no stitching together a bunch of different tools. So if you've been sitting on something and waiting for the right moment, this might be it. Head to squarespace.com/DAX for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code DAX to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
We are supported by Arm & Hammer toothpaste. I feel like so many parts of our lives have gotten a little overcomplicated, including toothpaste. There's always some new ingredient, new promise, new thing you're supposed to suddenly care about. Arm & Hammer baking soda toothpaste keeps it simple. Powered by baking soda, a time-tested ingredient you already know and trust for a clean you can actually feel. It removes up to 3 times more plaque in hard-to-reach areas compared to a leading toothpaste, and it gently whitens. And if you hear baking soda and think, wait, is that gentle enough? Arm & Hammer is actually a less abrasive toothpaste, and it is designed to protect enamel. Myth busted. It's also the #1 dentist-recommended baking soda toothpaste. I am a broken record on Arm & Hammer toothpaste. I love it. I've been using it for years and years. My dad first introduced it to me, and I've never gone back. I've also gotten a lot of people on it, and once you go to Arm & Hammer, you won't regret it. My personal favorite is the Arm & Hammer Peroxicare toothpaste. It improves gum health while gently removing plaque and surface stains, but also just my mouth feels so clean after. They have so many. They have advanced white toothpaste, which is great. I also use that. Complete Care toothpaste. Everything is perfect. Try Arm & Hammer toothpaste to taste the difference. Feel the difference. Shop at your favorite retailer between August 2nd and August 15th to save $1.50. Arm & Hammer baking soda toothpaste. Save $1.50 August 2nd through 15th.
This episode is brought to you by ServiceNow. Look, I have my dream job. I get to talk to folks I admire like crazy and ask them virtually any question that I want to. I can't imagine a better way to spend my time. But even dream jobs have some not so dreamy parts, the stuff that gets in the way of the actual work. Now, that's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what you should do about your busy work. They actually do it, start to finish. Cases closed, requests handled, no extra work for you. So you and your team can focus on what matters most, which for me is, are they obsessed with male bodies on the same level as I am?
They never are.
To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com. So that kind of leads me to the last question I want to ask you about your career. I would view this as potentially like a double-edged sword or a great blessing you have, and also perhaps a curse, which is you became so successful and such a great director that you had access to virtually everyone, or at least a good shot at everyone, which also means you worked with most people in like the height of their powers. And so you've worked with a ton of people that had most of the leverage and probably idiosyncratic personalities and probably too much attention. How have you navigated those huge personalities and gotten what you've wanted? Having met you, knowing you're a bit of an introvert, you probably don't love getting in screaming matches.
No.
How have you done that? What is your secret?
I have had great experiences with actors, and I think they just trust me. And early on, I think I'm able to earn their trust, and now I have a good resume to go with it. I'm able to use logic. When we're having a difference of opinion, we can work it out. It's only a short period of time. We're meant to do this thing together. And I've never not been able to get an actor to try what I needed to try, but I've always been very willing to go down his or her road as well. And so I don't get hung up on digging in. I try to find their path to the thing I need as much as possible and as wordlessly as possible, unless some people want to overanalyze, in which case I can participate in that. But a lot of people want to just be guided gently. And I remember very early on, I was just beginning to make a lot of short films. I was probably 18, 19. And I was making sound 16 millimeter shorts, and they weren't very good. The acting wasn't very good. And yet I was getting professionals to be in my stuff. And I went off and I did a television movie. Cloris Leachman starred in it, and Sissy Spacek was in it. It was written by Lanford Wilson, a great playwright, and from a Tennessee Williams story. It was a really good piece. And it was called The Migrants. Terrific television director who did some movies as well, Tom Grice. And we shot this in like 12, 13 days. And on the plane flight back, I thought, God, he's one of the best directors I've ever worked with. And then I realized he really only gave me about 3 directions. He was always, which was always bailing me out or answering a question. And he had cast me without an audition. There was a level of trust. And I began to apply that to the short films I was making and kind of make the actor-director thing a collaboration. And not a, you're my puppet, I need you to do this thing, which is kind of what I was doing before. But I try to create this environment where they know I'm there to back them up. I'm also a safety net. And I'm not going to agree with everything that they say. But when people realize that you're very eager to say yes, they're much more willing to accept no.
You're not just a hater. You're not
just
there to...
No, you know, and over-controlling or anything like that.
You earn your no's.
But I also love rehearsal, which is a place where you get to sort of work through how you're going to get on with this. How am I going to bring out their best? How am I going to create the environment where they can feel confident and really soar? And it's always a kind of an imperfect process. And some days are better than others, but I love it. Still love it.
I'm not asking for any names, but has anyone had the power to ruin an experience for you?
Yeah, or color it. I can't say anything's ever been ruined because I'm proud of the films. And if I'm not happy with the entire film, there's always there's that scene or that sequence or something that I feel like, wow, we really nailed that. But there are some people that wasn't a great collaboration. But there's probably no one I've worked with who I patently wouldn't work with again. Like if exactly the right circumstance came along, I would say, sure. Why? Because we owe it to the audience and we owe it to the story to make it great.
Okay, other director nerd question. What mistake do you make over and over and over again as a filmmaker? Is there one?
Yes, there are far too many to mention. But because I do like to try to create a safety net for actors, and as an actor, I did not like to be rushed, I don't often enough say, pace it up. I don't often enough go in and say, let's do that, but 30% tighter.
Twice speed.
Twice the speed. So sometimes it forces me into edits when the performance is cooking, but it's just not unfolding in the right tempo. And I kick myself for that. And sometimes with the staging, same thing. And I'll box myself into having to edit in a certain way because I didn't just get them to move quicker or stage it more simply or something like that, because I was going for something that was kind of honest and relaxed and that the actor really connected with. So it's kind of, in the grand scheme of things, I think that kind of rapport with the actors and seeking that kind of honesty and comfort benefits films more than it hurts them. But I do kick myself every single film in the editing room for that sort of thing.
And now, what percentage of your focus is visual versus performance? Do you think you could give a ratio to that?
It's always tilts more toward, I would just say, the character more than and so sometimes that's getting the right visual around that character at that time. This is something I had to learn, because in the beginning, I was just all about there's one thing you can count on. That's a great close-up of an actor. I still feel
Right.
that way. You know, that's like the greatest weapon in the arsenal is a well-written scene, an actor who can play it, and a good close shot of that person. You kind of can't go wrong. But as I've gone along, I've learned that there are other ways to build that character and support that performance. And sometimes they're a tiny figure on a horizon. And that's as powerful. And so a lot of my work as a director, and it continues to be, is trusting audiences. It's not a TV show. You don't have to spoon feed. You can be a little more elusive. And I mean, I learned this rapidly on Apollo 13. And I've continued to sort of work with it more and more and trust it more and more as I've gone along, just how smart audiences are and how ready they are to put the pieces together.
Even the blue hairs.
Even the blue hairs, even though
Geritol
afterward,
commercial.
even afterward when they'll say that was disgusting, but they will have connected with it. The movie I'm editing right now is called 13 Lives, and it's about the rescue of the soccer team in Thailand a few years ago. What an amazing experience. It's great international cast of Thai and Western actors. 25 or 30% of it is in Thai. We focus a lot on the rescue team, which were foreigners, mostly Westerners. But it was a great adventure, although hampered a little bit by COVID. But still, actors you'd know, Viggo Mortensen and Joel Edgerton, Colin Farrell. Yeah. It was
Good luck getting performances out of those three.
It was a real drag. And man, they went all in. They just so invested in trying to get it right. And of course, the Thai cast felt like this was their opportunity to reflect what this story meant to them, you know, as a country and as a people. It makes me really want to spend time in Thailand. Great people. Great people. I was talking to one actor at one point, and I said, man, are you doing okay? The actor playing this coach who was trapped in the cave with the boys, and he'd lost a lot of weight, and he just looked terrible. And I said, are you doing okay? You're here barefoot, not eating. You know, are you holding up all right? And he said, oh, yeah, we usually work 18 hours a day on films. This is really easy. So they're tough. They're tough.
Have you allowed yourself to float up to 30,000 feet and recognize that you occupied some pretty significant chapters in the story of Hollywood? You were in an era where TV was going to dethrone movies. And that looked like it was happening. And then you were part of the directorial efforts that brought film back and defeated TV in some sense. And here we are now, we're going back into a phase where TV's destroying movies.
Right.
You've played in all these time periods. Is that wild? Or
It's wild, and I do think about it. And I think about a couple of things. When I was young, a lot of the actors I worked with talked about their act. And they still had a vaudeville mentality, which was you can be in the movies, you can be on radio, you can be on TV, but you better have your act. Because that was the meal ticket. That was that was the insurance policy.
you go up to the Catskills and do a show or something.
That's right. Well, vaudeville died, per se. That yielded stand-up comedy. That yielded Cirque du Soleil. That yielded touring rock and roll shows. And so I feel like that storytelling hasn't changed. I was talking to Martin Scorsese. Here I am name dropping again.
Keep doing it. We love it.
About these changes and so forth. And he said, yeah, but there were decades, well, not decades, but 15 years where you saw a movie by putting in a nickel and cranking the crank. And that was the medium. It was shocking when you could go do it this other way. And some people really liked the crank still.
Sure, get a little workout.
And so it's still a new medium, and it's these moving pictures and the way they're delivered, it keeps changing. One other thing that informs my attitude toward all of it, when I was doing Cocoon, we cast a local actor in St. Petersburg, Florida, who had been an actor, but now he was 96 years old and still drove himself to work. We found him through the Rotary Club or something. He was an active guy, Charlie. Charlie had been an actor. Well, when was the last time Charlie acted? 1916 or 17. And Charlie had been too old to be drafted into World War I, but had been an actor in the early silent movie days on the East Coast when it was New Jersey and New York.
Right.
And when it moved to LA, he didn't want to move to LA. And
Yeah.
it kind of died on the East Coast. He went to Florida, became a salesman, and that was that. And I said, so, wow, this must be kind of wild for you to see what movies are like today compared to what you experienced. And he said, no, it's kind of the same bullshit. He said, the biggest difference now is, he said, the only difference is that in those days, we didn't have to stop the card game if you weren't in the scene when they were shooting. You didn't have to shut up. Now with the sound, you have to stop every time you're doing
Can't
a
play
take.
Pinnacle.
So the putting on the show, the getting it told, it really hasn't changed. And yes, I've seen a lot. And technology, my daughter Bryce is now directing episodes of Mandalorian in what they call the volume. It's a whole new technological approach in a way. And yet none of it is that different from what I remember at age 5 when I was just learning about the medium and the way it worked. It was still about breaking these moments down, understanding them, recording them, and presenting them. And it is just not all that different.
Yeah. And I got to add, if I divorce myself from my personal feelings about this industry and I just look what is available to me at night on television,
Yeah. It's great.
it's the high watermark of creativity. I mean, we're
it really
living
is.
at the fucking apex of,
I do not disagree. And I think it only benefits creative people, audiences. It's tough if you're the bank, if you're the studio, if you're the distribution system. Right at this moment, it's hard to know how much to invest in what. And of course, I love the movie experience. I don't think it's going to vanish entirely, just as vaudevillians found another way to do their comedy or their acrobatics. And I think that shared experience is not going to go away entirely. But I also don't think it's ever going to quite be the same. And it may not be the predominant. It may be the hardcover sort of a publication of a book, but more people are going to read the paperback or get it on Kindle or something like that. And so I certainly still hope that people don't go through their lives and never realize how cool it is to sit in a room with a lot of people, especially for a comedy or especially for something that really does transport you, and understand what that shared experience is like. But also just great that so many hours of fantastic writing, acting, and directing.
points of view you've never even
from all over the
considered.
world. To me, it's an incredible time. I agree with you.
Okay, well, I'm going to end on this. I don't even need to ask you this question. I can look at how you regularly work with the same people. You've had the same partner for 40 years. What I can answer for you is that I know it's not the money, and I know it's not the awards, and I know the real gift of this job is getting to spend your life with the people you've gotten to spend it with.
Right.
And I want to tell you, you're that person for so many people. And my heart was warmed to meet you and to be in your orbit and to get to talk to you. You are such a special person, and you're one of those people that other people it's made the whole experience worth pursuing.
Wow. Thank you.
You're just a beautiful dude. And I've always felt so lucky that I've gotten to meet you in my life. So,
well, thank you. Keep up your great stuff. Man, you're bold. You're doing all kinds of things.
I'm Clint.
Thanks for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I want everyone to check out The Boys, a memoir of Hollywood and family by Ron and Clint Howard. It is out October 12th, my lovely father's birthday. So an auspicious date. Please watch it and do yourself a favor. If you are not hip to Night Shift, to Gun Ho, to Splash, man, treat yourself. These are all awesome movies too to show like your young teen kids. They're like safe and wonderful. And we got to keep Ron Howard alive and well. So great to talk to you.
Great talking to both of you. Thank you.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place.
Let's talk bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, but it does not have to be that way.
With SoFi high yield checking and savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit.
No account or overdraft fees, which feels rare these days. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, perfect for getting ahead of a bill or grabbing what you need right when you need it.
Plus, get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi checking and savings at SoFi.com/armchair. SoFi checking and savings is offered through SoFi Bank N.A. member FDIC. Terms apply.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, lady.
Hello, man.
How are you doing? We have an exciting weekend ahead of us.
We do. Let's
We're gonna go
talk
see.
about it.
Yeah, we're gonna go see Hassan Minaj.
That's right.
Do stand up live. I'm so excited. Can I brag a little bit?
Yeah,
He
do.
sent me a pair of Jordans.
Oh, yeah, you got to brag about this.
They're so sexy. And I'm going to tell you something. I think I've even said it before on here. I am allergic to white shoes. It makes me feel like my feet are way too big, even though they're moderately sized for a 6'3" individual.
Oh, I thought you were just scared because dirt.
Oh, no, I don't give a shit about that.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I just feel like all of a sudden my feet are like size 15 when I wear white shoes. But these are going to get me over that hump. And I told him, these shoes are going to take me to new places. And I'm not
Literally.
shocked. I'm not shocked that it's you that is going to bring me to these new places.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, they're not pure white. They have a couple like hints of color, which is
They're off-white, and then they have some like mauve in it, and they have some tan. There's a pop of autumnal.
I like a mob.
He's so stylish. You know, do you follow him on Instagram?
Yeah, he just posted
Oh.
some cool outfits he was in.
You know, like I don't know. He's like turned into Robert Downey Jr. or something. I mean, it's so fashion
Friendly, fashion forward.
It's fashion friendly. What was I saying to you? And it was Elmer Fudd. And then I left you a voice message. You said you were going to keep a voice memo.
Oh, I kept it. Let's see.
Your true colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
It's true colors.
But
Your true colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Also, to be noted, we started an incredible documentary series called Bad Sport
yes,
or Sports
on Netflix.
on Netty.
It's really good. We've started a few very good things. So
Okay.
these are good recs. Bad Sport, we think,
Yeah.
singular.
True colors.
And
Well, the first one we watched was about a point shaving scandal at ASU.
yes.
And it was so juicy.
And it
And you
made
feel
me-
so bad for these
Yes.
guys.
I felt really heartbroken by the end of it.
It was a mix of feeling bad for them and so impressed and proud of them. I mean, the way he would bring these fucking games in to
On
the
exact
number,
point. I know.
I was like, this person. I
Yeah.
mean, how good would you have to be to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, and then heartbreaking. He didn't. Yeah, that's heartbreaking. Oh, no spoilers.
We're not going to spoil, but you guys should watch that. And then Scenes from a Marriage.
Scenes from a Marriage.
With Jessica Chastain. God, no one can talk. Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac.
Oh, fuck, man.
And man,
Are they good?
they are so,
It's bonkers.
they're so good. I mean, they're just so natural that you really feel like you're in there. And honestly, I was like, I gotta take a break and get into something a little lighter. I'm gonna watch Squid Game.
Yeah, and
That
Squid
was-
Game is lighter than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Squid Game is incredibly violent and awful, and it was lighter.
Yeah, it's so good. Scenes from a Marriage. It was recommended to us by a guest,
Yes.
upcoming guest, and the acting's off the charts. The writing is. I mean, you're watching it, and there's just a point where you're like, "Why do humans try to cohabitate?" Like,
Well,
why?
and I'm not married, and I was still like, oh my God, just being a person is so hard. Being a person interacting with any other person is almost impossible.
It's hard enough to be a person.
Yeah.
Period. And then now you try to make two of these lives.
Messiness of being human.
Messiness of being human. You know, we should think about describing the show that way.
Really? You don't think it's cliche?
Yeah, you're right. Let's not. But yeah, man, it's just like God bless all of us who give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. No.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful show, and
Impeccably acted.
I don't know. Maybe you have an opinion on this. I don't know if it's smart to watch it with your partner.
I agree. In fact, when I saw the kind of trailer for it, I was like, yeah, I don't know that this is something I want to watch with Kristen.
Yeah.
It's just, have you watched it?
Yeah, I intentionally did not watch it with Natalie.
Yeah, that's probably.
'Cause she watched it and she said she cried 4 times in the first episode. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I just imagine like a trillion different conversations could spiral out of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the power of art is that you start. You identify with these people. By the way, it led to, I thought, kind of an interesting breakthrough for me personally. That's how good it is.
Well, which was what?
Well, we were watching it, and the male character, when he gets bad news or he gets news that is clearly going to turn emotional, his attempt to ground it in something logical that they can then construct their way out of is so me. I was watching it just embarrassed of what it's like to be around me, to be engaged with me at all in an interpersonal relationship or as a sexual partner. At first, I was just like, yeah, that's me. But then I was thinking, well, it's me for a very specific reason. I'm terrified of someone I care about going through something emotional that I can't fix.
Yeah.
I hate it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was just like, oh man, that's.
But more than that, you don't want to go through anything emotional. So you're looking at it through the lens of logic for yourself as well.
Yeah, it's almost like I can't be emotional. Like I have this sense that if I am, it's like you'll see me in 2 weeks. It's just like the whole thing's going to open up in a way that'll be very overwhelming for me. The only 2 times it's really happened in the last decade was when I thought Aaron was dying, which you were privy to, and then when I admitted I was using drugs. Like both those times, even while it was coming out, I was like, choke this thing back in. Like, don't.
It helped, but
it's so necessary.
You didn't die from it.
I didn't die, and I actually aspire to have much more emotion, but it is terrifying to me.
You might have died if you hadn't had that emotion.
That's true. Oh, boy. Oh, you just brought him down.
Our friend, speaking of that, also kind of a downer, our friend is sick. He has a very, very, very bad bacterial infection in his mouth. And he's a sober friend.
Yeah.
And he has to take
some opiates.
Some opiates right now.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. His wife is perfect.
Literally.
She's incredibly even keeled. I go to her for so much. Like, she is a real rock. And she's having a hard time.
Sure.
And I've never seen it.
Yeah.
And she's really like having some PTSD.
Oh, sure.
From when her husband was ruining his and their lives.
Yeah.
And like,
you're watching someone juggle chainsaws and you're like, okay, let's try to do this in a manner that,
so scary. And it's so overwhelming. And I feel for her.
Yeah. Because I'm an idiot and I fucked up, the next time I had to be on them, since my relapse, because I had my entire shoulder rebuilt. Like I'm talking, there's pieces in there. They got to put 2 plates in. They had to take a bone graft out of my hip. Like it was a for real fucking thing. And then I have this infection. I'm in the hospital overnight. Well, because of my idiocy before, it was decided by Kristen and my doctor what I would get medicated. And what's really funny is I was on the exact same medication that our friend is currently on, and he was like, we were talking about it. He's like, I can't even feel it. Like I'm taking it as prescribed and I don't even feel it. And I was like, yeah. And that's what I was on post bone graft.
Yeah.
And I deserve that.
Yeah, but no, but
it put it into perspective a little bit of like what the last go around was like.
Although I will say, I think there is something to be said about the total disproportionate pain that happens in your mouth. It makes no sense that those things should hurt the way they do because it's small and who cares? But like, I do find mouth things highly miserable. But I'm not.
17 years ago, I got my teeth zoomed, it was called, I think. It was like a teeth whitening.
Oh, yeah.
And I, of course, was like, I want to say they were like, well, you can either do a 15-minute interval or a 22, and it'll hurt. And of course, I'm like,
I
fucking
can
blast
handle
them.
it.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Cut to 3 hours later. I agree. I would say that was one of the worst days of my whole life, where my teeth, every single tooth felt like it had an ice pick in it.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's inescapable. It doesn't stop. I used to get off on it. Like when I had braces, when they would tighten them, it would make your teeth really sore.
Yeah.
But I came to really like that feeling. Yes. And I would, I think in an OCD way, like a tick way, I did everything back then. I would bite down really hard and it would hurt really bad. But then the sensation of when it would dissipate was so satisfying.
I get that.
Yeah.
That was just another downer I thought I'd bring up on this Friday.
Anyone die that you loved recently? We could.
No, but I did feel like maybe my grandpa's gonna die.
Oh,
soon.
jeez.
Should we talk about the bagels?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Okay, let's bring up something really good. Rob is friends with the best bagel maker in all of Los Angeles, Courage Bagels.
It's not sufficient. Now, look, we're about to make the problem worse, but it's not adequate to call it a bagel.
Yeah.
They're Montreal style bagels that.
That's the theme.
Well, Montreal style, you boil them and then you bake them in like a wood fire oven.
They're
Crispy and like burnt on the outside and
But like
real soft on the
doughy,
inside.
yeah.
I've never tasted something like it. And it's such a departure from all the bagels I've ever had. And it is insane. And in fact, it was such fucking torture because I had given myself a pretty gnarly arthritis flare up because Monica and I are partying with trash food right now. First was like spaghetti, and I had like, I don't know, upwards of a gallon of noodles.
Yum.
And then the next day I had 3 chicken salad sandwiches on white crap bread. And then I was
delicious bread.
fucked. I could barely lay in bed, and everything was hurting. My fucking thumb was all
Then we
swelled up.
had burgers.
Yeah, we had burgers with more
Smash burgers.
white gluten.
So good, all of these
Oh, it's
items.
all so good. And then I finally, like, my neck was hurting, my hip was hurting, my fucking hand was hurting. And I finally was like, I got to right the ship.
Yeah.
So I made it a whole day with no gluten. I show up to record in the morning, and Wobby Wob has bought me one of those bagels. And it was torturous.
Yeah.
It was so torturous.
I was
had that
impressed that you
tiny
did.
bite. I
Yeah.
just had to have the texture for 1 second. So I had a milli bite.
I mean, yeah, I'm afraid to talk about it because there's already an insane line for them.
Yeah.
But I guess since there's already an insane line for them, like,
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
like
Go
45 minutes. Don't even bother.
just don't.
Don't
bother.
go. Don't go.
But
go. It's
do
the best
go.
way.
They're
Yeah,
so
but go before
good.
you die. You got to try this
And I
before you die.
posted a picture, and I got so.
Did people yell at you?
No, but but they were like, "Oh my god, yes, my favorite." Like so many.
When you watch the Seinfeld episode about the soup Nazi, and you're like, I want to know so bad what that soup was like, right?
Yes.
And that's this.
You're right. That is funny when there's things on TV or in books and like it's the coveted item. We can't have it. Like we can't have the soup Nazi soup. And like butterbeer was like that.
In what?
Harry
Terrence
Potter,
Posner?
and Terrence Posner. But then they do now make it at like the parks and stuff, but it's not
It's
the
just
butterbeer.
beer, yeah.
It's
What did the butterbeer consist of?
it tastes just like cream soda.
Oh.
And I love cream soda, or I enjoyed it, but it's too sweet. It's not what the real butterbeer tastes like in actual,
Terrence Posner world?
yeah, in Hogwarts. But I'll never get to taste that.
Why do you think it was named Hogwarts? I mean, I love the name, but it's off-putting.
Should I ask why? She suggested in interviews that she got the idea for the name Hogwarts from the Hogwart plant, which she had seen at Kew Gardens before writing the Harry Potter books.
What's the Hogwart plant?
Hogwart plant. It's also called woolly croton. It
This
looks
is
like
all
this.
so English.
It is. It looks like that.
Oh, I was thinking manufacturing plant.
Oh, I'm sorry. An action. Well, she saw it at the gardens.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought she was in a garden and looked over, and there was this huge Hogwart plant,
Oh,
which
wow.
made the airplane, the warthog.
Oh my.
Okay.
You
I went somewhere.
really went somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Terrence Posner will do. He'll take you places.
I know.
Like these shoes that Allison got me.
Ron. was
Howard.
Lovely.
Oh, God. What a sweetie pie.
Andy, he's so Andy Griffith show. Like,
Mayberry.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's really taken that vibe with him throughout his whole life. It's beautiful.
It is. and so talented in so many different
Yes.
pursuits with hitting the apex of each pursuit. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So he said, whoa, Nelly Dick Lane as like one thing, as a person. Because he was
Okay.
talking about wrestling.
Oh,
And,
right.
and I was like, whoa, Nelly Dick Lane. I don't know who that is. And then I looked it up and it's Dick Lane, but his catchphrase was whoa, Nelly, which of course I've heard. But he said it all as one. And I was like, whoa, Nelly Dick Lane, what is that? Dick Lane was an announcer.
Oh.
Yeah. And he would say, obviously, whoa, Nelly.
But our favorite thing that a WWF or E announcer has ever said is when Andre would take a fart.
That is our favorite. No. Okay. So that's cleared up, thank God.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Also, fun fact, I didn't say it in the episode, which I'm kind of surprised I didn't. Jess went to Burroughs High School.
I said it.
I just listened and I didn't hear it for some
Oh.
reason. I don't know why.
Maybe I didn't. I brought it up.
Jess went to Burroughs
I
High
know,
School.
and he was in Glee Club. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive I
Maybe,
brought that up.
maybe. Well renowned for their
Glee
Glee
Club.
program.
Glee program, sorry, not club.
I don't think they would want to call it a club.
No?
Because it's like, clubs are like extracurricular,
Okay.
but this is their life.
Okay, coin club, stamp club.
What club? Were you in any clubs?
God, no.
I was in one. I was
What were
in
you?
craft club.
Craft club is like a baby,
That was,
not as a fucking teen.
no, as a teen.
Craft club?
Yeah, it was secret society because there was like 12 seniors and they picked a junior.
Oh, God, this is right up your alley.
Yep,
To get to
limited
pick.
edition. Picked a junior and then we all would meet.
And you got picked, clearly.
Yeah.
How many people were applying?
No one applied. No one applied. Just
Okay.
a senior just picked a junior they liked and thought would be
A good
invested
addition.
in good. Yeah. And then we met once a month and like did a craft. It wasn't connected to the school, to be fair.
Well, good. That would have been a misallocation of funds if they were funding the craft club. I don't know. I just
Why?
don't see
I
the
learned stuff.
benefit to society.
Like how to make
there.
a piggy bank out of a glass jar.
It does remind me, even though I was defending that school we argued about last fact check, we did both share a big, big belly laugh when they said, we field over 300 applicants.
Exactly.
And I said, I think more than 300 people have applied to Pizza Hut this week. Like that's,
I know. To me, that was validation.
I know, it felt good. I was too cool to do so many things that I robbed myself of. I've told you this. Like I should have played high school sports, but I was like, I had defined myself against jocks. And I probably would have loved smashing into people on a football field. And I was a big boy. I probably could have done okay at it. Were you too cool for stuff? Wobby Wob?
I played sports until high school. I was in a computer multimedia arts club.
Fuck, I
There
love
we
you
go.
so much.
I get that.
I love that.
That tracks, and that's worked out in your life.
Yeah, you're rich because of it. That's a good
job.
club to
And
fucking
I am
join.
because of crafts.
Well,
It all worked out for
I don't
me,
know
too.
if we see.
Yep.
That's okay. I'm having a new car built.
Talk about it.
Okay, well, as some folks might know, we named our first daughter, but really because she would never do this. Why would she? After a car. Our first daughter is named Lincoln, not after the president. She was named after my Lincoln Continental, which is the car that I have the biggest emotional tie to.
Yeah.
I've had it for 26 years, and I've redone the entire thing. I made a whole movie about it. I love it. So clearly Lincoln's getting that car at some point.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, even though Delta's not named after the car, they did make an Oldsmobile Delta 88. And so a couple things are coming down the pike. I'm getting a Delta 88 tattoo, which makes me really nervous because 88 is a problematic number because white nationalists get it because of
they do?
Heil Hitler. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. Oh. So these Nazis get 88 put on them.
Oh.
And it's a Delta 88. I just got to do, I can't let that
But
not be the reason
Why do you want it to? Why do you want? I thought you were just getting her name.
No, I'm getting the actual.
Oh, the car.
The car logo.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, Delta 88. I was just saying, let me pronounce it to the world. If you ever see me, don't ever think it's that kind of 88. It is a Delta 88.
Very specific.
So that's happening. And then in addition, with the help of this amazing company, 3Pedal, and they're not paying me, and they're not giving me anything. So I'm just telling you, I've been following them for years. I love them. They take really stupid cars, the kind I like B-bodies, like my Roadmaster, Caprice Classics, fucking dumb sedans. and they make them stick shift and they put obnoxious engines in them. I've always loved their cars. They take them to autocross tracks. They're fucking awesome. Well, that group and I have found a premium 1985 Delta 88, a big square dumb-looking car, and we're putting a 580 horsepower motor in it with a 6-speed, big disc brakes, suspension off a vet. It's going to be so fun.
Cool.
I'm really excited about it. And then Delta will get that car.
Yeah, that's nice. But you could also get her an airplane.
An airplane? Why?
A Delta.
Well, okay.
Just saying.
I mean, sure.
You could have.
Yeah. Very trusted airline.
Oh, I wrote this. This was because Jonah Bobo comes up on this episode because you're talking about kids who are
who are
meant to be-
nurtured. And,
yes.
Yeah.
And I love Crazy Stupid Love. I was watching it on the airplane. That's my
For like
airplane
the
movie.
third time that week.
It's my airplane movie go-to. And Jonah Bobo is the main kid in it.
I know. It's so incredible. He's so hyper talented.
And he's so good in it. But it was just funny because you have talked about him a lot. He's
I love
you
him.
love him, and I've seen that movie 40 times, and I had no idea. I wasn't. Now I get to put two and two together, and I like.
Well,
that.
you were watching the credits.
I was
how much
watching
you
the
lo-
credits.
That's how much you love the movie. You were actually reading the
Yeah,
credits.
because the last song in the movie is "Blood,"
Oh, by
Middle East.
yes,
And it's so good.
that's one of my favorite all-time songs.
And it's a beautiful end of the movie, and then it goes into the credits, and so I was like in that. So good.
So another funny thing that happened on the airplane is that I told Delta, who really didn't really want to watch. She's like moderate with her TV consumption. It's not like she asks to watch TV much. But of course, on the plane, I wanted to watch TV for 11 hours because I don't want her to start crying.
Yeah.
And I saw Cheaper by the Dozen was in there. And I told her, hey, this was the first movie I was ever in. I'm in it for about 5 seconds. Tell me if you can find me.
Oh,
So then she launches into that. And then I'm watching now Squid Games. And I've got my noise canceling headphones on. So I'm watching the thing and I don't hear her. I hear you. And I look over and you're going, answer Delta, because Delta's screaming at the top of her
I was
lungs.
just doing this, like waving my hands
You
to get
caught
your
my
attention.
attention. Yeah, I thought the fuselage had broken half or something. You look like you saw a monster on the wing or something.
Well,
And then
she's screaming. I
Yes.
mean, Dada! Daddy!
I found you.
God. Oh my God.
So I see you flapping your arms like a fucking chicken in Main Street, doing the chicken dance on Main Street. And then you point to Delta, and I look over, and then I take my headphones off, and yes, I hear her at full volume, and she has found me, and she's so excited. It was really funny and cute,
That's really
and probably horrendously annoying to all the people that were sleeping.
That's what
Yeah,
that was my fear.
Yeah,
I
you're-
didn't care, but I was like, there's too many people who've paid too much
We're
money.
standing out.
Standing out.
We're standing out.
We're a tall poppy.
We are a very tall puppy at that point. Maybe the tallest puppy in the airplane was the shortest passenger.
What's your go-to? Do you have a go-to plane movie?
I'm not, and I don't know if we talked about this, but I had sent you a meme I read. I saw this and I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. This is Monica. And it basically said, often people with a lot of anxiety like to watch movies over and over again because they know what's going to happen and that makes them feel safer.
Yeah.
And I shot it over to you immediately and I was like, oh my God, that is you to a T.
I was like that. Yeah. That's
Like
right.
during the initial stages of the pandemic and quarantine, you could not stop watching Contagion. And then when I thought of it in that framing, that it was an anxiety related thing, it's like, of course, you're terrified of what's happening and you get to live this version where it works out in some way, although it doesn't work out that well. But, you know.
For my boyfriend, it worked out. And
That's
that's
all we
that
care about.
matters.
Yeah. If someone gave you a box that had a big red button on it, and they said to you, if you don't hit this button, Matt Damon is going to be killed right now. And if you do hit it, Lithuania is going to disappear off the map.
Oh my God.
Sorry, anyone in Lithuania.
They're gone.
Sayonara, suck ass.
Listen.
I want you to be honest.
Listen.
I want you to be honest.
Listen.
I want you to be honest.
Can I ask for a favor?
Yeah.
Can all of the people in Lithuania, all their families be in Lithuania at the time?
So that everyone dies at the exact same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then yeah,
Yeah,
bye.
okay. Okay, then yeah, bye.
I don't want anyone to suffer.
This could pick up some news traction. This is on par with Ahmadinejad saying that he's going to wipe Israel off the map.
For my boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's
They'd
bringing-
have to first learn how committed you are to him
Yeah.
to even understand it. And that's a big ask. They'd have to go through like 400 episodes.
2.8 million people.
I wouldn't. I'd kill him. But
Oh.
I'd kill myself too. And
Oh.
then we'd be together. Finally.
Well, oh my God, that was a test. I didn't even know it was a test. But the right answer would have been, I'm tribute. And then you kill yourself. You go, I'll kill myself.
I didn't know that was an option.
Well, there, you have to hit the button or not hit the button
Yeah.
or you're dead.
Okay.
It's a weird
Then I
null
would die. I
hypothesis.
would die. I'd rather die than any of that happen.
I pray to Jesus you wouldn't die over Matt Damon. Please tell me
Of
that.
course I would.
What?
What?
No.
I would die.
How much better of a life you want this guy to have? He had a fucking
My life's
storybook
been
life.
fucking awesome too.
This is a little more storybook. Just a little more.
I don't think so. He doesn't get to do what we do.
Okay.
And he has children. And
Yeah, they're going to be rich. He's going to die and they're going to inherit all that
No,
money.
I'm going to go.
You're going, oh my God.
You know, the new movie's out today.
What's the new one?
With Ben.
The Last Duel
That bet. On what? What? On a streamer?
in theaters.
Oh my God.
The Ridley Scott.
Well, great. Okay, now I have to fit that into the weekend.
Okay.
That's all.
The last thing I want to say is I
Oh.
follow Valentino Rossi.
Okay.
And he posted, I guess, what would be a photo dump of he and his, I think either his fiance now or maybe his wife. I don't know.
Okay.
He's found love.
Oh,
That's what's
good.
clear.
I
And I
like
think
that.
this is the first batch of pictures I've ever seen where he's outwardly
That's nice.
celebrating his love. And this woman is, by all accounts, an 11.
Okay.
And I did not look at her in one of those pictures. I flipped through and I literally just stared at how cute Valentino Rossi is and how good he looks in these clothes. And God, look how good he looks in a simple white t-shirt and blah, blah, blah. And then my thought was like, you know you're a MotoGP fan if you are straight and you can't even be bothered to look at the 11 because you're just pinholed on Valentino. God, is he cute. What are you going to say?
Can
You find this problematic? I can feel it.
No, I'm gonna ask you a favor.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's worth it. I wonder if we can move away from the number system.
Sure.
And still, you can still be effusive as you like to be about.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a shortcut to
attractiveness.
point out that this person's a supermodel. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's just the number because it feels like I'm
It feels really reductive.
rating someone's looks. I understand how you feel that way, and I can leave it at that. But can I tell you how I feel? Is the point I need to make is that she's by all traditional measures flawless. Simply so I can point out that I'd rather look at Valentino.
I get it.
So I need to do that.
Well, can you just say that? By all traditional measures,
Okay.
she's flawless.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, to me, that's the exact same thing as saying an 11, but
It's not.
It's not. Okay. I'm learning.
Yeah, I know. And I that's why I brought it up because I thought, is it worth it? And then I'm like, I think it is worth it.
Okay. Can I do it to dudes still?
I find that a little less problematic, but I still, I think using words is nicer.
Okay. All right. I will amend. I will transition away from the numbers.
Charlie needs a new nickname then.
Yeah. What do we do about Charlie? That's his
Perfect
fucking
Charlie?
brand now.
Well, we might have to leave it because it is his brand.
P10C. Did we already tell how funny that story he told was about he's on vacation and he got recognized?
Oh, I don't think we did. No.
It's so great. Wait, no, I think when he and Aaron stopped in, I think
did we?
did. Yeah, that he was he wasn't feeling his best and he hadn't worked out.
Oh.
And he said he's feeling much more like
9.
perfect 8 Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect 8 Charlie.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I love you.
Love you.